The keen ears of the rabbits had heard frost-footed centipedes on the march. With the Warrens' defenses in tatters, they turned to the warden for aid. Fish still flapping on the ground, but no sign of the fisherman. The culprit soon revealed itself. A rearing frost death march. The rabbit was hanging on by a whisker, but before Arlo could save him, a beast was on him. Arlo was amazed at the ingenuity of moles. This one immediately put the creature's blue blood to good use, offering a hearty reward for the warden's bravery. Worms had been seen again, but these ones emerged not from mud, but from the ice, and were said to be big enough to swallow the Warren whole. The rabbit bounding toward him was exhausted and panicked. Between his frantic breaths, Arlo made out the words, "ice worms" and "village walls." Outside the village walls, the wind turned ice cold. The ground shook, and from beneath the frozen tundra burst the giant ice worm. The ice worm had escaped for now. Arlo knew he could not rest. This creature would return if he did not finish his hunt. Arlo pursued the great ice worm to the peaks of White Whisker, and in the shadow of Mount Cauldron, it fell at last. The rabbits of the warren were safe. The mole was delighted to have paint again, and set about decorating his soldiers once more. Arlo suspected it was near time he returned to his own. The Crimson Keep's dock was the greatest Arlo had seen. Robin explained it was built by master craftsmoles. He laughed, telling Arlo how ratfolk believed their king paid them by fighting huge warrior moles in an underground arena. The king's steward, Doug, stopped them before the throne room. He started at the news of war, and then rushed away, muttering about how the armor would need to be polished. Dennis, the king's brother, was also curious to see this northerner. Dennis missed war. He could plainly see by Arlo's expression that was the warden's task. He hoped they could fight together someday. Arlo was nervous to meet this king. He hoped Reggie lived up to all he'd heard from Robin. He did not have to wait long. King Reggie was glad to see his old friend Robin was safe, and bid him to tell his tale. Robin told of the death of his son by the ferocious Darkwings, and begged the king prepare his forces to go north. Reggie was sad at the loss of Little John, but said that was not reason enough for the South to join a northern war. The king wished them well and turned to go. Arlo stepped forward, asking what the king would do when there was no Winter's Edge to shield the South. If they sent no help now, the Darkwings would not stop at their borders. Reggie listened to Arlo tell his tale. It brought back terrible memories of a father lost and a land left in ruin. A tale not unlike this young warden's. He held out his paw in friendship. King and warden, united, could stop any foe. The southern ratfolk would not simply leave the warmth of their homes for frozen lands they had never seen. A trial by combat would prove his worth. Arlo agreed. He would do whatever it took. News had spread swiftly. As Reggie led them to the tournament grounds, the streets were already full. Villagers craned their necks to see their warrior king and this strange northern challenger. Doug was an unlikely opponent for the first round. His small stature made it hard for him to wield a sword. But when it came to fighting for his king, Doug stood 10 paws tall. Doug was no match for Arlo's superior skill. Reggie could already see this would be a tournament that they would squeak of through the ages. Dennis, veteran of the Green Ward's War and captain of the Royal Guard, would be a true challenge for Arlo. The crowd's cheers for the king's brother echoed off the arena walls. Arlo was a veteran too, used to fighting monsters and Darkwings with ice under paw. Dennis did not compare. Now the crowd cheered for him. Arlo's final opponent was the king himself. Reggie had seen off the frog invaders almost single-pawed and was beloved by his subjects. This fight would be a tale for their times. They were well matched. In stature and skill, there was not a whisker between them. They shook paws in truce. No rat could doubt Arlo's worth now. Reggie said to meet him by the docks. Together, they would wipe out the Dark Wings once and for all. Together, they would attack Mount Cauldron. Seeing the king's forces training for battle, Arlo felt the stirrings of something he'd long thought dead in his heart. Hope. At the dock, Arlo's little heart leapt again at the strange contraption. If it was a boat or a house, he could not tell, nor why it had a giant sleeping fuzzlebug atop it. From inside emerged King Reggie. He was not alone. King Reggie introduced Bertle. Arlo felt something comforting in the turtle's presence. Bertle was proud to take the army to Mount Cauldron in his bug ship. They would make camp at Highland View, where Arlo could find them when his forces were ready. In a flap of its wings and a cloud of gas, the fuzzlebug took King Reggie and his army north. Whatever tasks Arlo had to finish, now was the time. Once the war began, there would be no turning back. The Council card. This card brings balance to any deck. The Death card. A harbinger of bad tidings. The farm's troubles, however, were far from over. Now the farmers were under attack by a giant winged beast. The elder begged for the warden's help once more.
The young builders saw an opportunity in the derelict mine. If only they could find some rat to give them the cash infusion they needed to bring it back to life.